Tube is still not up.
That's because Lisa's taking care of it.
Tube is still not up.
Okay, you're good to go.
Thank you. Yeah, and now I don't have my little cheat sheet. There it is. Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the HCC. It's Thursday, April 15th, tax day.
Yeah.
Were you just affirming that it was tax day, Abby?
Jesus, yes. God.
Whoa, the language.
And I want to tell you that you have one more month, but they want your quarterlies on time.
Yeah, right. So
Penalize
it
you.
actually
Yeah.
isn't tax day. You're correct, but you still owe money. That's the way it works around here. Okay, listen, everyone. Welcome to the Historic District Commission. I'm Ray Pohl, for the record, chairman of the Nantucket Historic District Commission. First thing we do is confirm that we have a few members here present. And so members, when I call your names, if you could respond in the affirmative, that would be great. Val Oliver.
Here.
Diane Coombs.
Here.
Thank you, Abby Camp.
Here.
And I'm here. Oh, Carrie Thornwell. Yep, you're here.
Yep.
Very good. I think that's it for now, right?
It is.
Appears to be. Okay, so moving along now, staff members, when I call your names, if you could please respond in the affirmative. Kathy Flynn.
Present.
Thank you. Holly Backus.
Present.
Thank you, Holly. Okay. This open meeting of the Nantucket Historic District Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020. That order, posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to convene remotely, so long as public access to deliberations is reasonably provided. This meeting is convening via Zoom with video and audio recording, and we are being broadcast via YouTube on the town's YouTube channel. With no member of the public having asked to speak, this particular meeting will not feature public comment. Materials provided to members for the meeting or provided during this meeting are, unless otherwise noted, available on our town's website. During the meeting, I will introduce agenda topics and speakers. So everyone, please remember to mute your Zoom audio until your name is called. And please direct comments and questions through the chair to avoid crosstalk and to make Terry's taking of minutes easier. Finally, votes taken at today's meeting will be conducted via roll call. Okay, with that out of the way, I'm going to ask, I don't believe there are any modifications, last minute modifications to this agenda. Are there, Kathy?
No, there are not.
There are not. Okay, so may I have a motion then to approve today's agenda?
So move.
Thank you very much, Diane. On that motion, Carrie Thornwell.
Aye.
Great. Abby Camp.
Aye.
Val Oliver.
Aye.
Diane Coombs.
Aye.
And I'm in favor. So we now have an approved agenda. First item on our approved agenda is consent, of which we have very many, very thankfully, 32 consent items now. I need to recuse.
As do I.
Now, was that you, Carrie?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the deal. We're gonna need to bust this up. Which one are, oh, I see you down there. You just have one, Carrie, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna make the following suggestion, that we pull your one out, okay? That would be item number 25, and have a consent agenda that is all but number 25. Then you would be able to vote, Carrie, and the board would be Diane, Abby, and Carrie, okay? To approve.
I'll make that motion to leave 25 out
Uh,
of the
okay.
agenda.
Hey, Terry? Is that
The
the
motion would be items 1 through 24 and 26 through 32. Then there would be another
Perfect.
motion for item 25.
Perfect. Okay, I love that one.
25
Now-
through 32.
Diane,
I'll take over.
yeah, you're going to chair this one, and you're just going to get a motion to approve everything except item 25.
Right.
Okay?
I would like a motion of approval from 1 to 24 and 26 to 32.
I think that, don't I make the motion? Diane, you're chairing.
I'm not making a motion. I said I would like a motion.
Yes, okay, that's my motion.
Thank you. Let's see. I will ask Carrie.
Aye.
I will ask you, Abby,
Aye.
and I will ask me, and I'm an I, so that covers those. Then I need a motion to approve 25,
26.
25.
25, I say.
Yeah, and the only person that needs to recuse from that, of course, is Carrie. So
Yeah.
Diane, I will move to approve item number 25.
Okay. Abby,
Aye.
Val,
Me.
sit on it.
Val,
Aye.
and me,
Yep, and me,
and you, Ray.
and I'm in favor.
So we're all in favor.
Okay, great. Thank you, Diane. So that covers a rather lengthy, thank you all very much for the lengthy consent agenda. Now we do have consent with conditions. Once again, I need to recuse from this one. Does anyone else? It
Nope.
appears not.
I don't think so. Just you.
Just me. So Diane, can you lead this one? And it would be
Yep.
everyone except me voting.
Right. So I need a motion to approve consent with conditions.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Val. Abby,
Aye.
Carrie,
Aye.
Val,
Aye.
and I'm an I also. Thank you.
Great. Okay, now we're on to signs. I'll need to have some information on the 7 signs that we have to review. I don't believe anyone needs to recuse from any of these, so unless you say otherwise, I'll be looking for a vote from everyone. Okay, Kathy, what do we have to say about the first ones?
So the first 4 were held for representation.
First 4 held for rep. Okay, can somebody make that motion for me?
1 through 4 on signs are being held for representation.
Very good. Thank you, Diane. On that motion, Val,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. Okay, how about the rest?
Number 5, which was 45 Old South Road, was held for revisions.
Make a motion to hold 45 Old South Road for revisions.
Okay, thank you on that, Diane. On Diane's motion, Val,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. Okay,
And the last 2, which were 48 Center Street, were approved with signed advisory council comments.
okay. Diane, you want?
Motion to approve with the sign advisory commission comments.
Great. Okay, on that motion, Val,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. So that does away with our signs. Wow, that's great, folks. We already knocked off page 1 of our agenda, so.
Motion to adjourn.
We don't have a long meeting today, but I feel a sense of accomplishment when we're able to knock off that many items. And thank you once again to everyone involved in producing the consent agenda, because
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, at this point, it's rather critical that we can move the easy things along. Okay, now we're on to new business. First up, actually the first three up are at 53 Vestal Street. Okay, let me just see. Jason is with us. Okay, Jason.
I'm here.
Hi, I see you there. Yes.
Come on,
Hi.
come up. Excuse me.
Okay, so Jason, the first item that you have on our agenda is to add a covered porch, and we do have the documentation in front of us. You want to start?
I can start.
Yep.
Jason Olbree is representing 53 Festival here.
Mhm.
I broke it down into basically three applications, I think. One for the porch structure, and I think this had the pergola on it too because it was attached to the main house. So as you can see, yeah, that pergola there you're circling correct is on this application, as well as the new covered porch coming off the gable going north.
In the
Yeah,
back.
that's correct.
Yep, okay. Oh, I see, Jason, what you're doing here, including the next application, is fairly evident from number 5, where you can see the porch.
Yeah.
You can see the pergola. Here we go with the elevations. And we can also see our next application, which is for the cabana.
Yeah, I bubbled. I could not have bubbled it, but I left it out, the cabana and that on there just because that's all new. But this in particular, I figured we'll just talk about the pergola and the covered porch.
Right. And what are you connecting the two with? It appears, a pergola.
There's another pergola with a cabana application.
Got it.
That's
Okay,
all.
to be clear, everyone, on this, because this is all bubbled, but I want the record to reflect that whatever we do on this application has nothing to do with the next application, which is the pergola, is the pool cabana with its attached pergola. They're separate applications, so we don't want to inadvertently approve this if we approve Jason's porch and pergola on the house, okay? So thank you, Jason. I think you probably said it all pretty well. Do we have HSAB on this?
I think it's outside of their.
No, sir.
Is it?
Correct.
It is outside of the,
Yeah.
okay, so
Yeah.
no HSAB. So it's up to us, kids. Who would like to start on this application?
I will. I go by this all the time. And from Vestal Street, this is not visible at all. I also think the entire thing is very in keeping with the architecture that's there. I'm not sure if it's visible from the little dead end road in like Hedgeberry or something, but from that elevation, I don't see anything out of character or that's inapprovable also.
Okay, thank you. So you're saying even if it were visible from the other street that you'd be okay with it?
Yeah, it's all telescoping down. It's small massing at that end. The pergola is typical of the areas where pools are. Yeah, it all.
That's great. Thank you, Carrie.
Mr. Chair, can I go? Okay, because I don't have anything to say.
You can go, but you just went because you didn't have anything to say.
That's right, I'm done.
So let me rephrase that. So you're good on this.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thanks, Happy. Diane.
Yeah, I've gone over it. The pagoda there seems to be good. And the walls don't seem to be coming up here. So
They're not up yet, yeah.
yeah, and the view from Nantucket Road, which comes because it's a complete open, at least at the moment, all the way up to Nantucket Road. But I believe the land dips from Vestal down into the middle of Hedgeberry area before it goes up again from Nantucket Road. So I don't I see nothing that I would find distressing to see from anywhere.
Okay. Thank you very much, Diane. Val, do you share that sentiment?
Yeah, I only had one question. Is
Hmm.
it natural to weather?
You mean the pergola, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, no, that yeah was just subject. Jason?
Let's say yes.
Okay.
Okay. That's the right answer. Thank you. Okay, so I'm good. Does anybody want to make a motion on this one?
Motion to approve is submitted.
All right, so that was Diane's motion. On Diane's motion, Val,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Carrie,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. Okay, so you now have a covered porch and a pergola at the house. How about our cabana and porch?
My comments hold.
Sorry, what was that, Carrie?
My comments hold from what I said before, because I was looking at all
yeah,
of
okay, so you're okay with this.
them. Mhm.
All right. Jason, is there anything that you want to say on this or just,
I'll let it speak for itself, I think.
there you go. It speaks for itself. All right. So Carrie has already opined on this. How about you, Abby?
We're not talking about the retaining wall yet. This is just on the architecture. I'm fine with the architecture. I think it's great.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Diane?
I agreed that the pagoda is all right. I was worried first seeing two along there, but if they're both natural to weather, it would be good. The only thing I might suggest is the four pane windows on either side of the west elevation. Those are chiclet windows, and on the east side, those are chiclet window panes. I would like to see them either drop down a little bit so they get a little longer or something. If they're up in a point, it doesn't make so much, but these are on the whole wall and on both sides of the garage doors. That's all. I'd like to see them
Okay,
different
well,
shape.
that's actually a good point because the C windows are, the panes are either square or actually horizontally formatted. So thank you for that, Diane. How about you, Val?
I have no concerns.
No concerns. Okay. Hey, Jason, is this going to be visible from a public way?
It's not from Vestal, not from Mattocket Road. As you can see, the lot kind of dips down there, and we're tucking it in there, and we will retain some of that grade.
Yeah.
Whether it's visible from Hedgeberry, if that's a public way. I mean, there's the hedgerow that's there. You can see that's remaining with those cherry trees that are there that are bare in this photos, but well, one photo they're not bare, but.
Well, the only concern that I have is shared with Diane, which is that those C windows are basically square or even slightly horizontal format. Like I prefer the proportions of the B windows, which are vertically formatted. Now we do have a house that's already built, right?
Yes.
So do any of these windows already exist on the house?
I think the one in the gable of above the porch was there. And I'd have to look at the exact spec on that particular window. Whether we kind of based that off of that window. But it doesn't mean we have to match that window on the cabana everywhere. Certainly the C windows in the rear could be taller.
I'd actually prefer that if the C's went to B's on the east elevation.
Sure.
I'll make that motion then.
All right. Sounds good to me, Abby. All right. So on that motion, Carrie.
Aye.
Diane.
Aye.
Very good. Val.
Aye.
Abby.
Aye.
And I'm in favor. That motion carries. Okay, now the retaining walls. Okay, so this long horizontal bubble that we see on the backside of your property is the retainage we're talking about.
Right.
How tall is it?
Oh, shoot.
Well, actually, let me preface that. Let me ask another question first. Is your grade higher or is the neighbor's grade higher? In other words, are you retaining facing into your property or are you retaining so that, oh, I see the diagram.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. So that little section of it appears to be like 1.5 feet tall, maybe?
That's
Yeah.
1'10" and then 2'2" 2¼
Okay. And what's the material?
I had PT retaining.
Oh, I see. There's actually 2 retaining walls.
Yeah, it L's off with the corner.
All right. So those are PT. Again, what's our visibility? And maybe we should go back to the locus plan.
It's all gonna be inside of the existing hedge that's there, so
That's
I
correct.
don't believe we'll
Okay.
see any of it.
Oh, can we go back to that? Yeah, so there is yeah. And Hedgerow Lane, or Hedgeberry Lane, weirdly seems to like cross over the backyards of all these pieces of property.
It's weird. Yeah. Those people own on both sides of the lane across from this property. Very strange.
Well, wow. So it's a legitimate access?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That was
right.
all subdivision years ago. Yep.
So Jason, in your package, do you have a photograph from Hedgeberry looking back at your property?
Yeah, if you, let's see here. So this one north view in the middle bottom row of this page, there's a gate there that is actually, this is standing on the other person's property, which that's going to go. That gate's going to go, and we're going to fill that in with new hedges. Those hedges there are dead, probably because that was used as access for excavation and they just need to be redone. But anyways, that's looking back from the Hedgeberry Lane there.
Okay, so to Val's point, there's a lot of privet there.
And then the top right photo, north proposed, yeah, right there, that's looking from Hedgeberry as well.
Okay, and that hedge is not dead.
That one's not dead.
Very much alive.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
You could do something like the hedge remains in perpetuity.
Okay. Fair. Who else wants to speak on this?
I would like just to ask how much is he retaining? What's the difference between the 2 houses? But this seems to go along the back, which actually is going towards Nantucket Road. What is he retaining back there, that long stretch?
Yeah, so you can see in this page here on drawing number 2, section 1 at cabana and house, I added a dashed line representing the current kind of grade.
Right.
And so I tried to step it down with the porch, then with the patio, so we kind of are not as retaining as much in the back. But you can see that would be the difference there.
You see that, Diane?
Yeah, but how much was that?
We'd have to zoom in to.
It's probably about 3.5 feet. Looking at my 4-foot crawl space there.
Yeah.
Overall, from the house to Hedgeberry, it's probably a 3.5 to 4 foot drop total.
Well, you're not going to see all that in one wall because
you
divided into 2 walls.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And the grade on the other side is back up again too, it looks like.
Oh.
Well, that's why I wondered whether it needed retaining, because the houses down there doesn't seem to be that formal with 2 retaining walls, and you're only retaining in some places 1.5 feet. Can't it be swirled in?
I'll like swale it in. I mean, the property, the neighbor's property will be, you know, I don't think we'd have enough room to do that, and keep the hedges. It's hard to say. We will at least need the one retaining wall on the shared property line, and we could grade it in a way down to the hedges along the property line.
Yeah, that, I don't know, it just seemed to be simpler and a little less formal.
Well, you're not going to see there's one retaining wall that's going to go like right on the property line with the neighbor, and then our hedges will go on top of that. Then the second one in kind of retains a little more grade behind the cabana.
And then
Currently, there's two hedgerows with a path between them, and the owner of this property, you know, the path serves no purpose, wants to remove his hedges and essentially move them to all the way to his property line, and remove that path. So,
Jason, you said one thing that gave me pause just
okay.
a moment ago. So if we go back to those sections, if we scroll to so number 3, section 3.
Yep.
Okay. That shows where there's the 2 retaining walls that you're. Okay. So the one on the left-hand side, that's the one that's on the property line.
That's correct.
Now, if I heard you correctly, and this diagram actually reinforces this, you're going to have the retaining wall right on the property line, and then you're going to plant a privet hedge on top of that.
That's right.
So you're going to see the retaining wall.
Well, the neighbor's property also has a hedgerow that's, you know, a tall one, a 6-foot tall hedge. If you look at the photos
on the property line,
on his side of the property line, that's correct. Like right where the cursor is. Yep. So that is the neighbor's property where you're circling.
Matter. That hedge is already there. How are you going to install a retaining wall like right next to the roots of the hedge without disturbing that hedge?
That's a good question.
So I'm back to where Diane was on this. If we scroll a little to the right, there you go. So you have the lower retaining wall that would potentially disrupt the neighbor's hedge. Not potentially, definitely would disrupt the neighbor's hedge. Now, if you imagine doing away with that retaining wall, you could slope down from your retaining wall that's further back. You could just do a natural slope there and eliminate that whole wall.
Right.
Unless I'm mistaken, I think that might be a softer solution that would guarantee that the privet on the neighbor's property didn't get affected.
Right.
Are you okay with that?
I don't know.
Just say yes. What do you mean you don't know?
I don't want to disturb, obviously, the neighbor's hedges in any way in which he would have to then repair them, you know, additional cost, but certainly you could do that, but, and make sure you could pull that in a little bit.
Option number two is to move the first retaining wall that's closer to the property line further back.
Right.
Away from the property line. And because it's sloping up, that means that it would need to retain less.
Right.
And you'd save the neighbor's property, and then that retaining wall would be further away from the property line, therefore theoretically less visible.
Sure.
Are you okay with that?
I'm okay with that, yeah.
All right, so if we move that back like 2 feet, let's say, to give you enough room to plant your privet on top of, you're okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you guys think of that?
I think it makes sense. It also helps to maintain the privets that exist.
Yeah, well, you know, the reality is that, Carrie, if you took a spade and you went down and put that wall where it is, you'd be cutting half of the root system of the privet, and it's not going to be happy.
Right.
So
they need to be able to trim them, and they need a little space around them. So
that's true too. That's definitely true. So, okay. Thank you, Carrie. Anybody else want to comment on this wall application?
Nope.
All right. So could somebody make a motion to move the lower retaining wall closer to the property line, further back away from the existing hedge on the neighbor's property, and then we could approve it?
By
So
half,
moved.
how much?
I'm going to say a minimum of 2 feet. Is that okay?
Does that
Yeah,
take?
I
in
say,
the wall?
I
It-
say,
it
I
does.
make a motion to approve as described as moving the small wall 2 feet away from the property line.
That should be enough space to answer your question, Abby.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. All right. So Diane has made that motion. On the motion, Val,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Harry,
Bye.
Diane,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. That motion carries. Thank you, Jason. We'll see you next
Okay,
time.
thank you. Have a good day.
Yep, you too. Okay, next up, 61A Cato. And I think I saw Tori in the queue. Tori, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, great.
Okay.
Garage apartment.
Garage apartment. I've got lots of photos of the street and the neighborhood.
Okay,
All of these lots on this side of Cato kind of swoop down in topography. And if we could look at the photos, maybe, Holly. I think I have them labeled. Here's our subject property.
okay,
The driveway is going to come. This is the one I wanted to look at, Holly. Thank you. This is to the right, 57 Cato. And you can see how the cottage they did in back here really sets down into the lot. And this would have a similar effect behind that main house at 61 Cato, where the program, first off, you won't see it that much from the road because of the existing vegetation and the height of the main house. But in addition to that, it would read as a smaller secondary structure down and back of the lot down the hill.
So Tori, we
Yeah.
haven't seen the site plan or the elevations yet, but so we have this driveway.
Yep.
We have those two cars.
Yep.
Now, are you going to continue the driveway where the darker car is back to your guest house? Is that
That's
what's
exactly right. Yep.
Okay, so the guest house will occur down that little hill
And then
in
to the
front of
left.
that really tiny cottage that we see in the background.
Yeah, the tiny cottage you see in the back is the one that we were just looking at 57
Oh,
Cato.
okay. All right, good.
So this will swoop down into the left behind the main house.
Behind the main house.
Yeah, and
Okay.
you'll see it on the site plan when we
Maybe
get to
should
that.
see the site plan, because, okay.
Tori,
Yes,
Oh,
hi.
yeah, way back there.
Way back there. Yep.
Way- Yep.
Yes, Diane?
is this Mohammed's old house?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, exactly.
I know it well.
All right, good. So there it is sitting behind the house. Can we see the elevations, please? So it's not inconsequential. It's 2 stories.
Yeah, it's substantial.
Yeah.
But I think the program that'll read from the street is really the first floor starting above the garage doors almost, and the roof lines and the dormers above.
Hey, Tori,
Yep.
does that really say 32 feet to the ridge?
It does. I talked to Marcus and a couple other people about that height, and he seemed to think that that was okay. Do you feel otherwise?
No. Well,
Seems like it's a zoning infraction.
it's a zoning infraction because you're only allowed, you're allowed to have one side of your building is allowed to be 32 feet high, but the average around the 4 sides can be no more than 30.
Okay,
And
got
if
it.
you're on a flat piece of ground here, you're like completely in violation of that.
Okay, so we can adjust the height, no problem.
Ray, don't we have a rule that says how high a second building should be, even over a garage?
Yeah, so, ordinarily that number is 24.
Right.
But there ain't no way they're gonna get a 24 with this program. Is this a prefab?
No, we were gonna stick build it.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, let's open it up to the board.
Sure, and we're happy to work with the height.
Well, that's good because, I don't know what Marcus was thinking, but,
Yeah,
Well,
that's why I tried to check with him before we submitted it, so I knew.
yeah, unless you're like in a impact FEMA zone, you can't do that.
Okay.
Okay, so board members,
I will start. Or
Yeah.
Abby or Val, you start.
Oh,
You mentioned
Okay,
first.
so I know this neighborhood very well, having worked on some projects there recently. And while it is all residential, well, it isn't all residential. It's sort of a mixed bag because there's like the Oddfellows Lodge and there's
Yeah.
some automotive things. So while it is large, certainly we shouldn't approve it as 32, but I do think it's congruent with a lot of that area, and it's way in the back, so I don't have a problem with it per se. It's just the height, and if the deck could, you know, you have the stair on the edge of the deck, so it's kind of hanging out there. If that could be pushed against the building so it's not,
Yeah.
you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, are you talking about the staircase specifically against the building?
Yeah,
Okay,
so
got it. Yep.
there's no windows there, so it's not going to hurt anything. It just,
Yep.
I think should be running alongside the building.
Sure, that's no problem.
Okay. Thanks, Val. Abby, you ready?
Sorry, I was muted. I feel the same way. I'd like to see a height of more like 27. I think that deck coming off the second floor absolutely should be taken back to 8 feet at least, to John McLaughlin's rule, because it is sort of also a porch functioning. The fenestration is a little, I wish more things lined up, like the ganged windows on the north elevation, or the west is sort of, it's just like I wish there was some more regularity to the fenestration. And would like to know a little more about the garage material.
Material of the doors or of the building itself?
Yeah, the material of the garage doors. Just
I
are
assume
those,
go ahead, sorry.
well, I was just wondering, are they natural to weather? And I was wondering about the, let's see, what does it say here? Dune gray. That's a roof.
Yeah, he didn't give me a color on the doors, but I'm sure he would be comfortable with natural weather. There's one in one of the pictures at Val, I think that was your project down the road up to the left, that has like a light tan garage door.
Yeah, and your trim color is natural to weather?
10 really isn't good.
Yeah, and we'd be happy to do any color that you feel you'd be comfortable with.
But we can't do natural to weather, can we?
A wood natural to weather door?
Yeah, they don't.
I think we could, but I think generally I feel like you guys like painted rather than natural weather wood on the doors, right?
Yeah, and in this area, I think just basic garage doors are fine.
Yeah, and I think he'll be ordering like an overhead basic garage door.
Yeah, okay, so what
Metal.
sorry, there's some background noise, it's confusing. The tan color, I'm not in favor of the tan color, whatever that is, right there.
No
I
problem.
would prefer almost anything but that. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Abby, thank you. Carrie.
I agree with Abby. I think the height needs to come down. I think the whole third floor dormer thing and third floor windows, it's a second dwelling. And I understand it's a garage, but that's just setting up for a massive sort of feeling. And I don't think that's right for a second dwelling.
I think what you'll see though, Carrie, when it's built is as it settles into that topography change.
Why don't we do the commissioners first before we
Yeah.
answer back and forth?
Sure, sorry.
Carrie, have you finished?
Yeah, I don't have anything else to
Okay,
say.
so your height.
But yeah,
Plus the
height and third floor dormer.
Third floor dormer, yeah. Okay. Okay, yeah, I feel the same way. The height is.
Can I speak?
Yeah, of course you can, Diane.
I'm on it, right?
Yeah, you are. Sorry, I thought you had spoken about to the height already, but go ahead.
No, I just said that the general thing. I think on the south elevation, the 3 mulled windows on the second floor should be, the center one should be removed. And then there's the 1/1 or whatever you want to call it can move into the middle underneath that window. I think the, where did we do on the north elevation? If we do the garage, then I believe, as Abby does, that it should not be the kiwi color that
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know what color you want to call it. I think it definitely has to come down to between 24 and 25. There's no reason that we should break our rules. They're not suggestions. They're something that we have backed for the whole length of time, that a second dwelling is allowed to be 24 feet when it's over a garage. And this is a full 2-story building with the dormers. So I would definitely like to see it come down, and I would like the mulled window over the second garage door should be removed. So it would made 4 across, evenly placed across the second floor, and the dormer probably should be removed from up in the thing, unless you need the light, and then have 1 window and bring that dormer way in. So it is not such a massive building. It's bigger than most of a lot of first houses, and most of the houses, at least down at the other end, where Pat and Dora live and where Tony lived and Wayne lived, they're small houses. They're not whompers. And even up further past 61, they're tucked back, and they're not that big. So I think to try and keep Cato Lane being a more relaxed street would be good.
What is that noise?
Do not know. Okay, thank you, Diane. It sounds like we need this guy to get a little bit lower in addition to a few other things.
Can I ask
So,
a question, Ray?
yeah, sure, go
Can I
ahead.
just ask a question for clarification? Diane, what were you saying about the dormer coming in? Is that what you said?
I said, bring it down to 1, if it's up there for light, bring it down to 1 window and bring the
one window
sides
is the
in.
dormer. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
And I just would say that a lot of the heights, I know Val just had a 2-story prefab approved, 2 lots over to the left or so. And we definitely have some taller structures, 53 and 55 Cato Lane. I have a picture of. You can hardly see in the back, but there's very tall, very developed structures and garage apartments above garages and 2-story structures. And then we've got the house move that Izzy just did, which is number 13. This one is really 2.5 stories. And then we've also got 69 Cato Lane, which is number 16. Right.
Actually,
there.
Tori, the debate on what a story and a half, a 2.5 story house goes on, because those 2 pictures that we just saw earlier.
Yep.
Even though there's windows in the 3rd floor, I'm referring right now to picture number
Izzy's,
13.
Yep.
You had a picture number 13. Okay. So if we look at that, yeah, there's a window on the 3rd floor, right? But if you look at the plate on the high side, putting aside the fact that it's a salt box and therefore has a 1-story plate on the 1st floor, that plate is not the height of the 2nd floor windows. So that building right there that you're looking at least in my parlance, would be called a 1.5-story building, because the plate on the 2nd floor is lower than the head of the windows.
Got it.
Right now, your plate is at the level of the top of the second floor windows. And then you've got program on top of that. So that's actually what I would call a 2.5 story house as opposed to
Okay.
a 4.5 house. So, you know, there's all kinds of in between type things, but I think that the overarching message here, Tori, which I'm sure, you know, is clear to you, is reduction in height. The
Yep,
other
no problem.
things, the deck and that sort of thing, I'm sure you can solve. The windows that Diane referred to, but let's look at the height. That's the
Okay, you
main.
got it.
Okay.
Yep.
So can I have a motion, please?
Oh, Mr. Chair.
Permission.
Was that you, Terry?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was looking at the plans for this, and this reminds me, and Al might know the building I'm talking about. Used to be Baker Construction, like 2 buildings down from me.
Yeah.
And it's a business. They've got a home, 2-story home over a business.
Yeah.
And it's got tan doors. So if you're holding it, you might want to come out and look at that. And it might give you a really good idea what this would look like. And recognizing that it is projected to be way back off the road.
Reason not to go out and look at it all by itself is the tan doors, the butterscotch colored doors. But thank you, Terry. So
Just FYI.
motion on this.
Motion to hold for some revisions.
Like that one. Thank you, Val. On that motion, Diane.
Aye.
Thank you, Abby.
Aye.
Carrie.
Aye.
All right. And Val?
Aye.
I'm in favor too. And so that motion carries. The next one we have for you is 2A Evergreen. Let's take a look at that.
Okay, so we've got a widow walk and some fenestration changes that we've presented. And we've kind of gone back and forth with these windows and doors with you a couple times already. And we've even rediscussed it since we submitted these plans, which we decided not to screen share today and just keep it focused on what was submitted at this point to discuss. You know, this area in general of his particular lot is surrounded by a commercial parking lot, a mechanic shop, the huge airport emergency garage for the emergency vehicles. It's got commercial truck parking for the business right directly to the left at, I don't know what number Evergreen or if that's a Monahanset address. And we've got, you know, a small farm owned by the direct abutter to the right of this house. The south direct abutter is where they put up that large white tent for church services in the summer. And then we've got the next lot over from that is commercial storage. So we really feel like we have a nice looking house here. We've got photos of some widows walks that are in the area that we feel are in line with the design that we have proposed here. This house will be very heavily screened, and we would be happy to take approval of most things that you do agree with the screening in perpetuity. We already have trees on the perimeter of the property that are planted. The front recessed section to the right side of the porch is 20 feet deeper than the porch itself, and that'll be the outdoor living space. And that's going to be used and tucked into that area to mitigate the noise of idling jet engines and everything else that's going on in this area. That also will be heavily screened. And we believe that no first floor fenestration is going to be able to be seen from a public way. Definitely not complaining about what's going on in the surrounding lots, just pointing out that we're going to approve the residential neighborhood in general.
Okay. Thank you, Tori.
And any questions on the window changes, I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah, so I think Val apparently must have left us. So,
Mr. Chair, I just let her back in.
That's funny. Okay, so
Me?
yeah. So could we take another look at the elevation so I can really get? Okay, so the roof walk is the obvious one.
Yep.
And
windows on the second floor north elevation were just realigned to line up better above the doors below.
I mean, the change there is like extremely subtle.
Yes, correct.
Okay, and then so that's the north.
Yep.
And then on the east, roof walk again, and you're removing those 2 windows on the left-hand side.
Right. If we keep those windows, they'll be blue boarded over on the interior program. So
Oh,
we're just trying to save money if we
yeah,
can, but
we
if you really need to see have the windows
don't
there.
necessarily need to know that, but let's scroll down and,
Okay.
yeah. So now the south roof walk again. It looks like you did this minor enhancement to the second floor, 3 windows. Looks like you're changing a pair of isolated French doors into 2. Oh, it's a quad unit. It's a
Yes.
quad slider, just
Yes.
like the one that's already there on the right-hand side.
And he felt it looked more balanced. That's why he was asking for
Okay.
it and has a better function.
Yeah. And now let's see. What is that square?
On
in
the west,
yes, what's the
That's-
square?
that's removing, omitting a window.
Oh, omitting a window, got it. And these other 2 windows are getting smaller, right?
Yes, exactly.
And the other one on the left-hand side there is getting smaller, it would appear. And then you're switching a single French door to a double slider.
You've got it.
Okay, that's it. That's the sum total.
Yep.
Okay, folks, who would like to begin?
Oh, I'll begin if people.
All right, go ahead, Diane.
I was just wondering on the south elevation. I'm not sure you would see it. Having the all French doors on the first floor is a little heavy. For the house, I would rather see one bunch on the left and one bunch in the middle of the gable. I also might think, just to the way it looks, is a chimney tucked in there rather than the roof walk. I find it funny to have a roof walk that looks at the airport, but that's just that's just me.
Yeah.
So I could just drop down to the east elevation. East elevation. If she has to take those windows out, is there a staircase going down to the basement where you have that fencing?
Yes. The railing?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I was thinking you could put something there, or continue the porch roof all the way over. So, but it really doesn't. East is going to face the airport, so you'll see it as you come in Evergreen. But that's all, and I just think the heavy windows on what the south elevation is a lot. I don't mind terribly the loss of the 2 windows on the east elevation. And if you thought of something else, a chimney, the east elevation roof is very barren. So I guess I would go with the roof walk in the final thing. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Diane. Abby.
I don't have strong feelings about this. So I think whatever Vicky wants to, Tori. I always want to call you Victoria, but it's not Victoria, it's Tori. So
And today I'm Maisie.
Your name is Victoria, correct?
Yeah, it is Victoria.
but
Today I'm Maisie.
yeah, I'm fine with this. I'll take it or leave it on the roof walk. I actually think it stands alone perfectly well without the roof walk. So I'm on the fence about it. Thank you. That's me.
Okay. Thank you, Abby. Val.
I think you're not going to see a lot of this. It's about 200 feet off the road. The lot in front of it is an L shape, so it actually sits in front of this house if you look at the site plan.
Correct.
I think Is everything natural to weather, Tori?
I believe so.
Yeah. It's appropriate to me in the area.
Well, the sash is black.
And the doors the trim is Quaker gray.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it says trim natural to
Natural
weather.
to weather.
cedar.
On the cedar for the deck and the widow's walk.
No, it says trim.
Oh, no, no. Okay. But hey, I just read this. So she has a little parenthetical thing that says widow's walk. So to be clear, yeah, because we have, we've already approved the house earlier. So we would have,
Correct.
we would approve the trim package. It says, if you look over to the right of all that, it says, trim Quaker gray.
Yeah.
Correct. And you've already approved that, as you said, Ray.
Right. So the natural to weather component of this is the roof walk.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Continue, Val.
No, I have nothing else to say. I think
Oh.
we scrutinized it when we looked at it to approve the first time, and aside from the roof walk, I'm okay. I think it's fine.
Wait. You said aside from the roof walk,
We
you're okay?
approved it aside from the roof walk before, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're okay with the roof walk?
yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Carrie.
I'm fine with this too. I think the changes they've made on the windows and things, most of it won't be seen. The rest of it are subtle adjustments. And the roof walk, I actually think it looks good on this house because it helps break up the blockiness of it.
Okay. Yeah, given its location, it's a fine building. I can't find anything to object to, really. Can somebody make a motion?
Motion to approve as submitted.
Okay, very good. On that motion, Abby.
Aye.
Thank you. Diane.
Aye.
Very good. Carrie
Aye.
and Val.
Aye.
And I'm in favor. Motion carries. Thank you, Tori.
Thank you very much.
Victoria. Okay, now we're on to Mr. Glowacki at 5 meter. I think
That would be me, Mr. Chairman.
you're not Nancy.
I am Nancy today.
No, brother. Okay, what you got?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I have to go through YouTube. I'm looking at it a little bit delayed, but I can hear you in real time.
Mhm.
You're all familiar with the building across the street on the water that the land bank bought from Walter?
Yep.
There was a life right to it, and obviously the life right expired, and you guys already approved the building to come off and pieces taken off so it will fit onto another lot. They want to move it diagonally across the street to Meter Street, which is the open field that used to be Alan Holgate's. Beyond those 2 houses that we redid, and in front of those 4 houses that are elevated out of the ground. And it will fit over there. Bracken's got it fitting over there. What we'd like to do right now, because there's some logistical issues with moving it onto the lot, we can't spin it. So the water side is going to face Washington Street. So we've got a concept, which Brooke will talk about after I'm done. What we need to do for land bank purposes and contractual purposes is get an idea of whether you will entertain moving that structure diagonally across the street so then it fronts on the non-water side of Washington Street. We know we have to change the height out of the ground because we're in the velocity zone, right on the cusp of it in between. Yeah, it's got to be high. It's got to be as high as the 4 behind it and the 2 next to it.
Right.
But because of another easement, a view easement from one of the other smaller lots that front on Meter Street, we have to be 25 feet off of the property line that faces Washington Street. And we've got another house on that lot. We have a lot of logistical things, but we have to go forward under contract to see if you will entertain moving that one over here.
Okay.
So what we'd like to do ultimately is fix the plans, fix the height, things like that, and have you, because we've got a very tight timeline. We're supposed to move it before June 15th. Good luck. But we're trying to do that. with Toscana, the town, electrical, phone, everything. It's a tricky move on that area, but not blocking traffic. So we're on a really tight timeline on this house move. And if we, after the discussion today, if we could be continued to the beginning of the 27th, that'll give everybody an idea of where we're going and what the timeline is. So that's my pitch for today. And Brooke will talk to you about the structure itself, what the architectural features of it. As I say, you've already approved it to move off with pieces of it being cut off, so it narrows the width, so it will fit on another lot. But that's what our pitch is for today, is to get an idea if you guys will entertain this, and then we will try to figure out the logistics of this whole thing.
Okay, so, this is, unless it was you, Nancy, I would consider this an incomplete application because it sounds like Brooke is going to verbally walk us through, but this isn't going to give us really anything. Yes, Brooke?
Ray, I actually have some drawings that I'd like to share.
Okay, with the stipulation here that, the application that's in front of us, never mind.
I know
We know
where this.
we know where we're going.
Okay.
It sounds like, are the ducks really in a row here? I mean, if we go through looking at elevations, are we then have to come back and hear somebody say, well, you actually can't do it at all because.
Well, so
Because you have no, what is the ground cover?
Hang
Well,
on.
the ground covers.
May I just share my screen and then we can.
I think so. So now listen, everybody, I want to be clear for the record on this. This would have been considered an incomplete application because, a lot of what Linda said, like the idea that it can't turn around, that we'd have to be looking at the water side rather than the road side, therefore the front door,
Right.
blah, blah, all that stuff. Oh, and the raising up, all that stuff is not on this application at the moment that we're reviewing. But I understand the whole concept of a house move and how difficult it is from a logistical standpoint. So I'm willing to let this move forward, and I'm willing to let Brooke make a presentation, understanding that, it's time sensitive, and I don't think anybody is really interested in having this house crushed up and sent to the dump. Anyway, Brooke, why don't you tell us?
We will formally submit the plans, Mr. Chairman, before the 27th, so you can actually look at the formal plans on the 27th. We just wanted to make sure it was good for you.
Brooke is going to wow us with some visuals right now. And I do want to hear from HSAB on this. Okay, go, Brooke.
All right. Can you see this?
Yep.
All right. Let's see. All right, so the east elevation, which is currently facing the water, this is what it is as built. There's a little nub, a little wart on the left side, and there is about 7 feet on the right side that's going to get removed. And instead of a gable dormer, what seems to work right now is a shed dormer. The wart goes away, and we're also tucking the second floor deck into the roof line. And you'll see in the drawing below, there's currently projection on that deck. It's tucked in. This whole side is clouded just to indicate that that is the side that is being pushed 7 feet to the south, basically removed. And then looking at the next set of drawings, this is the west elevation, which on the site as proposed is actually going to be the rear elevation. And again, we've got, this is the dormer and the wart area that's as built. We're removing 7 feet of it, small shed dormer. And then on the right-hand side, we've got this area, which is currently the kitchen sink. That will get removed, which is what you can see over here. And then on the south elevation, which faces, it doesn't face the street or the rear. Yeah, right. Okay, so as you can see, this little wart area and the door and stairs go away. And the deck is tucked in as well. So This was the direction of the architectural changes in order to get this to work on the site. And I think the goal here is to hopefully at least keep this on this trajectory and have a more defined set of plans for the next presentation. Certainly showing the elevation change, the
Well,
grade
Brooke,
as it is now is 4.4 feet as opposed to the GIS 6 feet, which is what I'm showing here. So there will be an adjustment. And I think that's all I have for right now. Thank you.
okay, I got to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
We need to go back to the elevations.
Okay.
It will be higher than what we're showing in the pictures right now.
Oh, well,
So nothing about this is really what's happening.
that's actually what I was getting at. So I see the west elevation existing and I see the west elevation proposed. Now, those floor levels are exactly the same distance off of the ground. There's no change. So you're saying
Current.
So hang on, Ray. Like when I submitted this, I showed the as-built as a smaller scale just to indicate that it was different. But this is shown as 1 in 10, and this is 1 in 12. So
I get that part, but I'm looking at like the number of steps and everything up to the front door, and it's exactly the same.
Yes, it will come up another couple of feet out of the ground, almost the same height as the other six around it.
I want to be clear.
Bracken had tagged that.
I want to be clear here. These drawings do not represent what we're actually going to be seeing, because this building is going to be 2 feet taller than what all this indicates. Am I right?
Yes, on helical piers. Yes.
yes, that is correct.
Okay. So thank you, Brooke. Holly, do we have HSAB on this?
Mr. Chair, HSAB took a look at the original application on March 22nd. Of course, there were concerns because there were no scale drawings,
Right.
but they did not have any concerns to the move. However, I'm not quite sure if it was actually discussed that the front elevation was going to be, switched, that you're going to be seeing the water side on Washington Street. I don't know what their concerns on that would be, but of course, I would also have concerns on the proposed height. I will note that obviously this is not a contributing structure. It was built in the 90s. So
yeah,
Drawn by me.
yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Oh, no kidding.
Back in the day.
Yeah. Okay, so realizing that we have incomplete information and all that, I would like to hear from each one of the board members sort of, I'm taking the temperature of the board on the conceptual idea with no guarantees, but I want, obviously the next step is to get some real plans that show really actually what's happening. So
I'd like to get feedback.
Okay.
I'll begin.
Yes, thank you, Diane. Go ahead.
One of the first thing I want to know is that Linda mentioned that it would be the same height as those 4 buildings just past it on Meter Street. I believe
Just the top of foundation, Diane, not the height of the building, just the top of foundation.
I understand, okay? I'm not dumb. I want to know if that foundation that those cottages were plunked on top of was not excessive to what was necessary. I think that we have to look, although it is not the purview of the HCC to approve a house in an area, we are talking about very heavily about the flooding. So I think that when they are proposing a house on this lot, we have to know about that. I think that taking the east side and putting it on the west side of Washington Street will have to change the entry. Those new houses, which was Alma Holgate's property and land, they have been done and they face Washington Street. The two houses. I think it's important to keep that. I would like to know from looking at this plot that I have here, the proposed structure showing Washington Street and Meter Street. This house goes from sideline to sideline and back to the thing. It is, I don't know what the ground cover is in this particular place. I can't find it in the application, but I would like to know because there's nowhere that it breathes except the proposed parking, which they have to have, and they have to be, supposedly, they have to be able to turn around and come back out onto Washington Street, not back out onto it. The empty piece of land shows 1 Meter Street and 3 Meter Street. It looks like it belongs to somebody. I think we need to know that. And architecturally, I don't think it's incoherent to have it there on that street. I just think that this is Washington Street. You have a park, and you have the oldness, the cottages, and then you have the little houses on going down Washington Street back towards Fayette. That and this is, if it's going to come up 2-3 feet, it's going to make it a very large building. So I think I would like to know all those answers in order to approve it moving there.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you very much, Diane. Val?
I appreciate the efforts to keep it. I agree. This facade will need to be finessed to make it look like the front of a house, like get rid of the French doors maybe and do like a front door. Then just as a suggestion, because there'll be so many stairs, this is coming from our coastal resiliency workshops. Maybe the stairs can be cut into the porch.
Yep.
And that really helps mitigate some of the impact of that. So I'm okay with this.
Okay. Thank you, Val. Abby?
Yeah, I fundamentally as well, when I saw the drawings, I just agree with what's been said, so I don't want to double that up, so.
Okay, fair enough. Carrie?
Yeah, I'm with these guys also, but I really do think the thing, if it can't be turned around with all the things that you do have to do to make it fit, you definitely need to change all those French doors and really revert it to looking like the front of a building, not the back.
Okay.
Right. So
I figured.
Is that it, Carrie?
Yeah.
Because that's my sentiment here is, the backside is rendered as a backside, it faced the water. There was all kinds of reasons why we made provisions for that originally, but now that's all changing. So this has to appear to be more like the quote unquote front of the building rather than the back. And okay, are you keeping that blue paint? Just say no.
Say no.
Yeah, blue paint has to go. Okay. Every time
you don't like
the damn place, it's like the blue paint. Okay, so I think you guys know.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Just a quick answer to through Diane's. It's 40% ground cover. It does meet the ground cover. And the ones, and I went down there when I was still the chairman and met down there with the engineer and the builder of those 4 in the back. They look really weird because they're so small. But we did check the top of foundation versus the joist versus the velocity zone, and they were at the very lowest, because when they went in, we all went nuts. They are at the very lowest height required by FEMA after they changed the maps.
Okay, to sort of stay on that point just for a second, if we go back to the photo of the empty lot. Okay, I'm almost 100% sure that Lisa, my wife, that is, did the house just to the right there.
Yeah.
Yes, she did.
And I'm almost 100% sure that was when FEMA flood zone stuff was all in place. So that's an example of a building that is raised up. You know, Brooke, if you're interested in getting the drawings for that, you know, so that you could do one of your famous Brooke Meerbergen with neighbors on either side type thing, we'd be perfectly happy to provide those. So, you know.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
thank you. I just wanted to also remind the commission that our design guidelines that we're in draft review right now actually annotates 57 Washington Street as an example of elevating within the historic district. So I'm glad you brought that out.
Which one's 57?
Specifically
We are
page
using
72.
those.
It's Alma Holgate's house at 57 Washington
Yes, the
Street,
Holgate
corner
property.
of Fayette or Lafayette down at that end, and Washington Street.
Okay.
Yep, and the one right next to it that you guys did.
Okay.
Do you think it's possible to continue it to the beginning of the 27th so we know where we are at that point?
The 27th, is that next Tuesday?
That's a week, 10 days from today. Not next Tuesday, but the following Tuesday.
And I'm sorry, why at the beginning?
Well, listen.
Otherwise, if we go to the end, it would take another month to get in because you're a month behind right now.
Yeah, we know.
We've noticed.
Yeah,
that.
painfully.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, could I say one more thing about the site planning?
Go ahead.
I wanted to, I didn't know if it was possible to think about making that the driveway smaller, and that would probably give a little more land use. I mean, I don't think it has to be, and it's right on Washington Street. It's going to look a little odd.
It's a good point. Very good point. There's a lot of hardscape sitting right in front of the house.
So anything.
Yeah, we're having trouble with that because of an easement from a neighbor next door that was given when she sold these lots. And there's a 25-foot setback, and that sort of screws you.
Right. So the hardscaping is a different issue.
Yep.
Anyway, do what you can. I will try and get this to expedite because I am aware of the time constraints and the June 15th thing, you know, and all too often what happens is you miss it and then the house winds up going to the dump. I'd rather that did not happen in this case, particularly if we're all predisposed to make this work. So we'll try and hear it.
And they have a demo permit. So they have demo approval, and we'd rather not do that.
Correct. Got it. Understood. All right. So can somebody make a motion on this one for me, please?
I'll make a motion to hold for more drawings, more information for the next meeting on Tuesday, the 27th.
Sounds good. Let's put it at the beginning, just to be safe. Okay, so that's Diane's motion. On the motion, Abby?
Aye.
Val?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
And Diane?
Aye.
Thank you, and
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Goodbye. All right, so it's 20 after. We probably have room to take care of one of these Atlantic landscaping jobs. Let's see how it goes. So 2 Holbert, do we have anybody to represent?
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, there he is. Okay. All right, so 2 Holbert Ave, add granite curbing, go.
So essentially, it's one that we finished last year, and we're just, people keep driving onto the road and onto her grass, and a lot of the neighbors down the street and that end of Holbert Ave already have curbing. So she wanted to kind of add the curbing in there. It'll also help. It's kind of a low point also. So it'll also help with water.
Yeah, I'd love to see a precedent for it because my recollection of Holbert is like there's no curbs down there.
Right across the street from it, there's curb.
You have a picture?
Don't think we took a picture
Okay,
of it,
so
but
now we're
right
at
across the street there is, and further down from that, there's also one, and then you approved the one next door where we put curb in already.
Okay, so Thank you, Lindsay. We're going to get some photos up, hopefully, and I would like to hear from Holly. Presumably this went to HSAB.
Yes. Yes, sir. This went to HSAB on March 22nd.
Okay.
Their concerns are as follows. The curbing creates a more formal and urban feel. Practically the only curbing in Brant Point area is a small section across the street. The rest of Hulbert Avenue has no curbing. There is curbing at the far end of Hulbert, way down. Granite curbing not appropriate without a sidewalk was a question. This is a beachy neighborhood, not an urban one. Easton Street only has curbing on one side where there is a sidewalk. Don't want to set a precedent for Hulbert or other Brant Point streets to become in line with curbing.
Mhm.
And their overall recommendation is no new curbing along Hulbert Avenue. Those are the comments. Thank you, Mr.
I
Chair.
suspected. Now, here's something I want to call everyone's attention to. This curbing that's proposed, like 97% of this curbing is not even on their property. It's on town property.
Aha.
You see? So I don't know what the rules about parking are down there. And I certainly, would not like it if people are parking on someone's private property. But as you can see from this site plan, their property actually begins probably 5 feet away from the edge of the road. So that means when people are parking on, quote, their lawn, they're actually probably parking on town property. So I just point that out. Like, I'm not even sure that they're allowed to put in curbing on town property without the town, somebody other than us, that is, saying,
Mr. Chair,
yes.
Not the DPW.
on that, it would be DPW, because it's obviously in the town's right of way, not on their property.
And what do? Just simply put in a request?
Yeah, you would just ask the DPW for permission.
Yeah.
And if I'm correct on this, they would probably want some concurrence from this commission, but I don't know how you all want to handle that since it's, like you said, about 97% in the public.
Yeah, there's just that one little corner where it's actually on their property. Okay, so thank you, everyone. Who would like to start?
I'll start.
Let's go, Diane.
Okay. I wouldn't put the curbing because in the particular area where it is in the soil, it'd probably be there for 6 months before it's run into the ground. So from cars driving on it and the soft soil that is near that corner involves that corner anyway. So I would suggest in their own property, not on the town's property, and find out where that apron goes into town or their property. It's to put a small pickly hedge there. The hedge just a foot, no high 6 foot.
Interesting idea, Diane. Very interesting concept. Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Thank you. Val.
I basically feel like if it's not their property, it shouldn't be put there by a private citizen. I feel that I see this happening more and more, maybe not with granite curbing, but that landscaping is now accreting into the street so that every single little piece of property can be, prevented from being used by the public, even though it's public property. So we have no business approving this.
Okay, well said. Abby.
Yeah, no, I agree with what's been said. I mean, sometimes you see people painting white stones and putting them, 6 feet apart, and that keeps them from, parking up on the lawn that's town or private. But, I mean, there are things you can do that's not a curb cut, which is exactly right. It is, 100 feet away is Brant Point, which is a sand dune. So, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Carrie.
Yeah, I agree with Val. I don't think people should be building on town property.
Okay. So, yeah, I'll just add to that, you know, ordinarily I'm not saying dangerous precedent. I think it's an overused term, but this actually, it fits here because it's kind of like putting up those groins in the water. You know, once you do it, then all of your neighbors have to do it too. And it just keeps like dominoing all the way down the coast. So for that reason alone, I would putting aside the fact that it's on town property and creates, to HSAB's point, you know, that sort of level of formality that right now does not exist on Hulbert Avenue. I would not be in favor of this. So, Lindsay, not a lot of support.
Yep, not feeling it.
Yeah, not feeling the love. So what would you want to do with this? Do you want to
We'll withdraw it.
withdraw? Okay. So folks, Lindsay's withdrawing it. I don't think we need to take a motion on that because he has officially withdrawn it. Okay. So that's the end of that one. How about, we have 5 minutes. Lindsay, tell me honestly now, because we have a hard stop at 2:30, hard stop.
Yep.
6 Macy Road. Is that going to take more than
It
5
should be
minutes?
pretty quick. It won't be visible.
We only have 3 minutes,
We have 3 minutes.
It's way back behind the house.
but it got negative reviews from Nantucket.
Yep.
Well, okay. Say no more. Lindsay, listen, I hate to do this to you,
No,
but
that's fine. Fair enough.
okay, 3 minutes and we're going to close down. So we don't want to leave you hanging.
Yep. No, fair enough.
Next,
so we'll go to the first
we'll
of.
get to the beginning of the list. Okay.
Okay,
so
perfect.
folks, that's kind of it. I think that, should we just motion by Lindsay? Thank you. Should we motion to adjourn, or are there things that we need to take care of under other business that we can knock off in less than 3 minutes?
Just
Make a motion to adjourn.
the minutes from March 23rd.
Approve the minutes from March 23rd. That would be helpful. So can I just have a motion on that before we all go our separate ways?
I make a motion to approve minutes for the 23rd.
Of March. Thank you very much, Diane. On that motion, Val,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Harry,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
and the chair is in favor. So that motion carries. Now we can motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
All right. Before I take a vote on that, thank you all very much for coming out on a Thursday. I think we got a fair amount accomplished in this short amount of time. Okay, so Diane has made a motion to adjourn. Val,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. Thank you very much, everyone, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Thank you, Ray.
Bye-bye.
All.
Don't mute me until I say thank you. Thank you both.
Was bleeding profusely. He went to the ER. They told him he had an abrasion to his oral cavity, and he's here suing the defendant for the $10,000. He's now out. Yes, the defendant, Amanda. She says this guy's out for a payday, plain and simple. And demanded she pay him $9,000, but said he would take $5,000 to make this all go away. He's now caught a piece of plastic and now is trying to make a federal case.